It's Wednesday, June the 7th, 2017, and this is your Barbados Today afternoon update. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news at this hour, Rihanna Jordan of Christchurch Girl is the top performing girl in this year's Common Entrance exam. She scored a total of 243.70 and is headed to Queen's College. The top boy is early sitter Javon Linton of Blackman and Gollop and also is headed to Queen's College. He scored 243.18. Education Minister Ronald Jones told a news conference that 13 students scored full marks in maths compared to 3 in 2016 and 7 in 2015. This year, 10 students were among the top performers in English. The way is now clear for construction to start on the controversial Skeete Bay Tourism Development Project in St. Philip. 5 years ago, popular Calypsonians Red Plastic Bag and Matt Fingal led a public campaign against the project, contending that it would have negative impact on their community. But then Minister of Housing and Lands and MP for the area, Michael Lashley, gave assurances that Skeete Bay would remain the property of the Crown. But the Town and Country Planning Development Office has given permission to developer Paul Doyle to proceed with building the 67 luxury villas overlooking Culpeper Island and the Skeete Bay.
Well, we did get town planning approval,
okay.
and I think the controversy was more when we had our town hall meeting. The professionals that guided us through that process told me that it was the only town hall meeting they were ever at that 100% of everybody in attendance spoke in favor of the project.
Okay.
So that's not terribly. I mean, I think there was 1 or 2 people that spoke out about it and had questions, but I think most of their questions revolved around some misunderstandings about their ability to fish on the pier in our restaurant facility. But I think once we cleared up the misunderstandings, everybody was very positive about it.
Turning now to another controversial tourism project, social activist David Commichong is warning the Friend Stewart administration not to make a wrong move on construction of the $200 million Hyatt-centric resort. Commichong is already challenging government's decision in court to permit developers to start building. He's now warning government that if it allows the developers to begin construction before a judicial ruling is made, taxpayers could end up paying liability costs to the contractors.
If they start work and the court ultimately finds that the permission was not properly granted and must be set aside, then they will lose the value of the work that they have done, and they may very well have a legal claim for their losses against the government of Barbados. So this is one of the reasons why one of my applications was for an interim order suspending the grant of permission to construct pending the hearing of the case.
Barbados and other Caribbean states have so far benefited from more than $5 million in disaster management funds from the United States. American Ambassador to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, Linda Tagliatella, made the announcement while addressing yesterday's opening of the annual military and disaster management exercise known as Exercise Trade Winds at St. Anne's Fort.
The United States Office of Foreign Disaster Assistance and the United States Southern Command's Humanitarian Assistance Program work in close coordination with national-level emergency management organizations as well as multinational organizations such as CARICOM's Caribbean Disaster and Emergency Management Agency to help build regional capacity to respond to both natural and man-made disasters. Through these partnerships in the Eastern Caribbean alone, the American people have provided in excess of $5 million to build multiple emergency operations centers and regional disaster supply warehouses. Specialized human rights training is an important step forward in combating exploitation against society's most vulnerable people. A crime that should not be tolerated anywhere in any form. Humanitarian assistance and disaster preparedness are also essential tenets of our mutual cooperation and are important components of this year's trade readiness exercise.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Who call and get your yams and potatoes? Wait, my girl, how you want to see you for long?
I can't how you keeping, but you don't sell the nation paper no more.
But that paper ain't selling. This month now I stop selling that. Look, one time I would have make a little dollar on the Sunday sun. But when Sunday night, I still trying to get the weather there.
Well, you know you can't call that the Sunday sun no more. You gotta call that Sunset News. Cause at no time that news stale.
People complain that them ain't got nothing in it to read and the price keep going up all the time. A woman abused me so sick the other day, telling me that she does read Barbados today online for free. I can't take that abusing soul, so I switched to my potatoes and yams.
Well, let me tell you, if pork selling, you got to raise pigs. How much for the yams?
Oh, 75 cents a pound.
But that's cheaper than that stale news. Give me...
How much you want?
a pound.
Only a pound? Anyhow, these eating real good. Let me wrap them up for you. Come.
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
We're back with news from the region now. The coalition government in Guyana is maintaining that it is still against winner-takes-all politics, but is willing to work with the opposition party at all levels. Royden James reports.
One of the major campaign promises of the coalition government was to move away from winner-take-all politics and include the opposition in the decision-making process. Since taking office, there has been many claims of witch hunting by the opposition, and the opposition had said that they are not prepared to work with the government if that trend continues. Last Friday, Nightly News asked Minister of State Joe Harmon whether the government is still interested in the level of inclusiveness articulated during the run-up to the 2015 general elections, given that 2 years after elections, there has been no major strides in that regard.
We have said, yes, that we are against one party. And I can see that the coalition is a coalition of 6 parties already. Coalition of 6 parties. And those 6 parties span the length and breadth of this country.
With respect to having opposition members serve in critical positions, Minister Harmon said it's not something the administration has contemplated. In fact, given the provisions of the Commonsburg Accord that paved the way for a pre-election coalition between the AFC and APNU, there is no provision for ministerial positions for opposition members.
And on the international scene, attackers have mounted simultaneous gun and suicide bomb assaults on Iran's parliament building and the tomb of the republic's revolutionary founder in one of the most audacious assaults to hit Tehran in decades. At least 12 people were killed and dozens more injured in the twin assaults on the Iranian capital. Iran's intelligence ministry said a third attack was foiled. We hear more from the CNN.
This does appear to be a very advanced plot, and certainly it seems as though one that was taking place with some pretty heavy arms as well. There were reports of AK-47 assault rifles being used. Certainly the guards that would be on hand there would be lighter armed than that, so whoever invaded that place would have a lot of firepower. And then we're hearing of possible suicide explosions inside the parliament and then inside the shrine as well. So that certainly seems as though this was a fairly sophisticated plot that took place.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. Also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.